It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. So welcome to Mind Your Business.
Good to be here. Yeah.
I am very excited to talk to you about your business venture, talk to you about your journey into entrepreneurship. So you're Shawn Talbot.
I'm Shawn Talbot, yes.
And you own Nourished.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get into the questions about the business, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Shawn Talbot, born in Bermuda. I was raised in Montreal, Canada. I moved back to Bermuda probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I worked in a few different industries before starting this company about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we've been rocking Nourished ever since.
So what gave you the desire? Were you always in the food industry, or why did you choose to start a business in this industry?
I've always been very keen on food and keen on health. Mm-hmm. How my life worked. My first job was as a dishwasher, mm-hmm. and I kind of like went up the ranks and I became like a line cook.
Okay.
And that's where my passion for cooking started. And I went away to school, and that kind of flipped around into personal training. Mm-hmm. And so both kind of worked hand in hand my whole life. I was always really into food and fitness and wellness.
Okay.
So just the culmination of all those skills kind of led this idea to life.
Okay. So were you always sure that you were going to be an entrepreneur?
Yes,
okay.
I would say so. I studied in economics, and I did graphic design and web development. Mm-hmm. So I taught myself all the tools that I would need to essentially start a business. Mm-hmm. I started a clothing business that did pretty well. Wasn't my passion, so I didn't go through with it.
Okay. And
I had a marketing company where I would make graphics for different companies around here, different bars, work on their websites, and that did well as well.
Okay.
And then, yeah, when Nourish came around, I kind of just knew it was something that Bermuda needed, health food, ready-to-go packaged food.
Mm-hmm. How did you know?
There was a space in the market for it, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I just know that these type of systems work for people. If we made the website quick enough, if we made the food good enough, that's why we hired excellent chefs to make the food good. Because obviously if the food's good, they ain't buying the product. And right, so I just had a good idea that it would work if I, made the right steps towards it. Focus on social media, focus on a good website, customer appreciation, and all that type of stuff. And then we've been really focused on making the customer experience as good as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of the business model can you talk a little bit about that and your decision to do that as opposed to having a physical like brick and mortar store where people can come and get their meals? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've shuffled that idea, myself and our team of cooks and chefs. At first, that was our idea. We were going to have a restaurant with kind of like, a liquor license, sell food and liquor and all that good stuff. But Nourish kind of took off in such a way that all of our attention was reverted to, okay, how can we make this meal prep thing work? And how can we be different?
So when you were like thinking about Nourished, it was going to be, like you said, the brick and mortar. And was that the meal prep thing, like the in-between to get you the capital or whatever it was that you needed to get the brick and mortar? And then you were like, hey, wait, we're on to something.
Right. that would be a good way to put it. I guess when you're in the food industry, you have like a dream of having a really wicked restaurant. And, you want to have that cool spot that everyone goes to. And that was kind of the dream at first in my head. Wow, I'll have a nice spot, Japanese theme maybe, and have all these like fancy nights. And then I guess that dream kind of like really just got a little more tamed and a lot more narrow until like, okay, let's just create a really good product and, sell fresh food and make that work. And then maybe a restaurant will come later. But just focus on what's working right now.
Yeah. I mean, I love that because I think sometimes we can be so caught up in what we want. We're not listening to what the customers are telling us that they want or need, so that you were able to do that and be like, okay, look, this is working. People obviously want this. I mean, there are restaurants
this is it.
in Bermuda.
Right, there are. And like, you have that selfish little voice in your head that's, that's like, do something cool, make something fun. But at the end of the day, it's about,
giving people what they want and are not willing to pay for.
Right, this is it. Yeah, 100%.
So, okay, Nourish. Tell me a little bit about it. Like, what is Nourish? How do you identify the chefs? How do you identify the food? Like, take me a little bit through that process.
Okay, so Nourished is obviously a plant-based company. We have a new company called Eat Clean, new within the last 4 months.
Okay.
Eat Clean Bermuda has meat, right?
Oh.
So it's meal prep with meat now.
Okay.
And a lot of our clients have been gravitating towards that. They do love the plant-based stuff, but also a lot of people aren't plant-based, so they love the meat option.
Right.
Nourish itself just came obviously from a passion of food, but I was a vegan for 4 years.
Okay.
For like, not for health reasons, more for like, the world and the view of the world and how it worked. And so that led me into, deep diving into the science behind plant-based health, how good it is for you. And then I had a mission to, to spread the good word or like the good food in this in this way. And that's how Nourish came about. The name just kind of came quick. And then the vision was let's get some plant-based food out there, hire the chefs, make it taste gourmet.
Yeah.
It's not just quick food. It's actually like well-timed gourmet food. The sauces are simmering for 2 or 3 hours. We're doing it properly.
Okay.
So, package the food and then get it out and then see what people think about it.
So where'd you find your chefs?
Very crazy. So my neighbor when I was younger, he was a chef. His name's Rene Mapa. He's my chef now. When we first started Nourish, when I first started, I was cooking alone. So it was about 300-400 meals a week at that point. Doing it alone, like I had cooked a bit, but I had never cooked on a mass scale.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I'm tripping. I have like a day job. I'm trying to figure out, I'm working, till 5, and then I'm going from 5 to midnight cooking, getting stuff ready. And, a couple months in, I was like, this is not sustainable.
Right.
So went and spoke to my dad what to do, and then he remembered, there's a chef that used to be a neighbor down here. I still have his number, Rene Mapa. And then that night I call him, and then it so happens he was like kind of like in between. He's Filipino, so he's going to go back home, maybe move back home. So he's in between this like idea of maybe moving back. And then he jumped on board, and 3 years later.
It's history, right?
That's it, yeah. So it was very, I guess, serendipity type of moment.
I was going to say very much so.
Yeah. And then from there, we brought in some other guys who were, worked in the industry around here.
Okay. Yeah. And so was their focus plant-based foods, or they were just excellent chefs, so whatever materials they had to work with, they were going to make it taste delicious?
No, they weren't plant-based at all, which was kind of at first like a little like trying to get them on board. Wasn't hard.
Where's the meat?
Yeah, no, 100%. They're like, this is not what people want. People want me, and I'm like, promise me, like I promise you, like people will try something new. That's the idea here. Let's get people to try something new. They got on board. And I mean, obviously, they're really good at what they do, so they're able to shift their skill set to a more plant-based one. And it worked out.
So I have a question, because we import everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the cost sometimes, in my mind, I'm like, the cost of these meal preps or the plant-based foods can sometimes be, in my mind, more expensive than what you could get with your meat products or whatever.
Right.
Have you seen that to be the case? And if so, like, how do you manage that?
Right. So we make everything in-house. We're not buying like Beyond Meat, which is more expensive than like an actual burger.
So you make your own?
We make our own stuff.
Yeah. Excuse me. I got skills like that.
We're doing a little something back there. No, so we order a ton of veggies.
Okay.
When I'm saying a ton, maybe it weighs a ton, perhaps that much. But so with that mass scale, we're able to manipulate our ingredients and reduce our costs. Obviously, it takes us a bit more time, but we're not taking any shortcuts.
Right.
And the whole point of Nourish is that everything is from the ground and not like frozen or processed.
Nice. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
That you're able to make that work in Bermuda, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's tight. The margins are tight, but we have great orders. We work by volume. If we didn't have an excellent client base, we wouldn't be able to do it. But, we have a lot of loyal customers who come back every week, which we thank a lot. And
So talk to me about how you built that clientele, right? So Nourish did not exist, right? And now it does. And you 3 years strong, 3 years in. So what did you do different to kind of build this following and this loyal client base?
It was social media at first. That was my passion 3 or 4 years ago. Just trying to figure out how to get products in front of customers. you know, when Facebook ads first came out and stuff, I was like not the first person, but I was the
first in Bermuda.
The first ad, right here. I was just like on the ball with it, I would say. And then, we were pumping out ads. We were very like close with our customers. They'd pick up and we'd build relationships with them, like bonds even, you know, we'd talk and we'd create a clientele. I was always the one doing pickup, so they'd see me every week and to build that kind of like, you know, that's the friendship almost, right? So it organically happened through that. Like every week, 2 or more customers would come, 2 or 3. And then, you know, at the end of a year, you have a few more people coming to pick up.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I guess your business model is built on, is it subscription based? How does it work?
No, so we don't do subscription just because we change the menu every Monday.
Got you.
So it'd be difficult for, let's say, if someone's credit card's being charged every week, you know, they'd have to keep going back to the website.
To make sure it's something they can eat.
Right. This is it, right? So they might just get a random selection if they're allergic to nuts or something, they can't eat it. So we make the customer go back to the website every time they want to order so they can select what they want themselves.
Okay.
And it works better that way. You know?
Okay. That's interesting because I'm thinking, you know, with subscription, it's like guaranteed, but then you don't have as much flexibility as to what you're going to be able to cook or prepare.
Right. And it's also like, let's say $70 a week. You might just forget about that and not want the meals one week, right?
Right. And then you got the food.
Then you got the whole food. Yeah. Like your freezer's full of these meals. You know, you're like, I can see it getting out of control.
Yeah. So in terms of the life cycle of the meals, they're frozen, so you can keep them in the fridge, but for how long? Like, how long will they last before you're like, maybe you should just...
Yeah, so they come fresh, like we cook them the night leading up to the pickup, right? So a couple hours before people pick up. We tend to say 4 days in the fridge for anything. It's like pretty like pushing it. So 4 days. By the end of that 4th day, pushing it to 5th, you might want to think about eating it or freezing it.
Okay.
And then obviously freezing, you could keep them there for 6 months.
Right. Okay, yeah, just... You have food, you don't have to worry about it because you got that covered.
Right, yeah. It's like, don't leave them in there for a week. After a week, like that broccoli's going to start getting weird.
Yeah.
You know? You might start talking back to yourself.
Yeah. You open it up, be like, what's up? Yeah. Like, maybe not. Yeah, exactly. Maybe we won't do this.
Yeah, 100%.
So, okay, you always knew you were going to be an entrepreneur. You had a passion for fitness. You became a vegan. And so you melded those two together, and it's working for you in Bermuda. Do you have any goals still to do the brick and mortar? Is that something that you think you will eventually do? And if so, what do you think will work in Bermuda? Because you know restaurants open, they close.
Of course, yeah.
They open and they close. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you said, it's a tough place to have restaurants. We do have the staple restaurants on Fredden Street, which have been open forever and are great locations. We do have a plan. Of course, when something comes up, if something comes up, then if we're in a position to do so, then we will probably jump on the opportunity. But we haven't had that arise yet. If something really comes up or a big spot becomes available and we have an opportunity to maybe bid on it or see if we can, you know, do something cool in there, we'll be first in line.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're saying we, which I like.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your team and how important they are to making the whole Nourished program or plan work.
Right. Yeah, I always say it's my team. It's definitely not me. They're the guys who cook the food. They're very passionate about food, and they're just, you know, 10 on 10 on what they do. You know, they're really in tune with what's going on, what's hot, like all these new trendy things. You know, we try to stay on top of that because the menu does rotate so often. We have to stay on top of like what's cool right now. You know, what's going on.
And you don't want people to get bored either, right?
Right, exactly.
Like spaghetti again. That's my son, by the way. He's like, spaghetti. I'm like,
this is it. Yeah, even like our head chef, who's, you know, and is 60 now. He's on TikTok every night, and he's looking at, I saw something on TikTok. We got to make this next week.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. But no, they're great. They allow me to kind of like step away and you know, control more of the broader aspect of the behind the scenes, you know, just like the pushing the brand a bit more, making our content look better. And then obviously I'm in the kitchen with them as well and helping where I can. But they've done a great job at just like all becoming their own individual kind of leader and
Okay.
Being good at what they do in their little space. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about the thought process behind starting Eat Clean. Like, what led you to that? Nourish is doing great. You get the orders. It's consistent. You're building a client base. But what made you decide to add meat to the equation?
I knew that at one point Nourish would plateau because of just people aren't vegan. There's not enough people
not everybody, right.
Not enough people on the island. There's not enough, expansion that we can do. If we're in the States, we could hit, billions of people.
Right.
But, and it was starting to plateau a bit. Our sales were still good, but I could forecast it within like the next year that we would have to readjust something. And then now I already had the meat website ready to go. It was just a matter of making it live. And then when the time was right, we threw it out there and it did really well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew that the people who had been doing Nourished with us for like the last 2 years, let's say, I could imagine them wanting something maybe different.
Right.
If they're continuously doing it, they probably do love the product. They might be adding protein to it themselves at home.
Like maybe do a chicken or something and just add it with what you prepared.
This is it. So when we brought Eat Clean, I think that probably helped them out a lot in terms of them being like, okay, I don't have that my protein anymore. This meal is perfect for what I need. And then, so it made sense to have both.
Right. So now you have both. So you're able to address the needs of both.
Yes.
Plant-based and people who desire a little bit more protein.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have any other plans to introduce any other things to the mix, or are you like, yep, I think we got it covered now?
Well, we have like little micro things we'd add. Like we want to do desserts. We want to do like a smoothie bar.
Cool.
We want to have super salads, we're calling them, and all these different options that people can get when they come pick up or pre-order online. Or pick up. We have 3 locations in the Sears gas stations where we have fridges there with 45 meals a day or whatever we put in there. So just making those a little more exciting. Sometimes just seeing meals there can get a little mundane if there's like salads and wraps in there and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot more options for customers. So that's kind of it.
So is the main, it's pickup. It's not delivery?
Yeah, so it's pickup just because the number of people who come on pickup days, I can't really imagine how we could do that with vehicles in one day. We would need a lot of vehicles for sure. And it'd be just a little chaos just to figure out what time we're bringing stuff at. But it just, in terms of that, it makes it easier for pickups.
Okay.
But we do work closely with Pronto, who buy our meals. I was going
to say, what about Pronto or Sargasso or something like that?
They deliver meals for sure. They buy a bunch a week, and they're doing well with our meals as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So they buy them, and then people have the choice to pick them off of their website when they're ordering their groceries.
Yeah, so they get a bunch a week, and then people shop from their website if they want them delivered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it must be working, so don't listen to me.
No, but I do. We have been very closely looking at that, developing an app to have a delivery system, and it's going to come. Just got to get there.
Yes, you just got to get there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it all sounds great. Like, I feel like you have all the things you need. You got your degree in economics. You knew the social media aspect of marketing. So you had all the things that you needed to make this business successful. But can you talk to me a little bit about what challenges you experienced when you set up or when you established your business and how you navigated those?
Yeah, that's a lot of the challenges come just from like yourself, I think. Throwing yourself into the open like that is pretty wild just to start with. I left a job that I loved, and then this was taken off, so I had to make a really, life-altering decision. And I think that for a year played with me for a bit. The anxiety came in and like, did I do the right choice? And then like the self-doubt.
Yeah.
That was the first like roadblock I really encountered with myself, where I kind of was like, sleepless nights, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, life isn't fun anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and then once you get over that hurdle, it gets a lot easier. In terms of business, you just have to really be keen on numbers. You have to, really focus on the fluctuation of prices of the groceries because your margins are tight.
Yep.
So you really have to be looking at papers all the time. I've become like an accountant now by trade without really wanting
without
to.
The designation. He's like, who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly. So that was the biggest challenge at first, going into it a bit without having any experience as a restaurant or food business owner, right? Buying all these products. So that was a learning curve. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, you can, whatever, if you're really in tune with the information, you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that's the main thing.
That's impressive to me because like the food industry is like volatile. You know what I mean?
Especially here, it's wild. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like people are either crazy or will learn it.
Right.
And, to take on that challenge.
Totally.
Especially to me, I consider yourself a newbie because we have like these. Not monopolies because there are multiple players, but they're usually groups, right?
Of course, yeah.
That own the multiple. So
sure.
because of the, like you said, they have the ability to buy bulk. So it reduces down their cost.
It does, right.
Yeah,
right.
so for you, like the new kid on the block.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming in to be able to navigate it and then still be in a position, I think, not only to be doing well, but to expand your offering to now this second thing is a big deal, I think.
Yeah, of course. I mean, at first you're starting off like you have no idea. Didn't even know about Viking or like BGA. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to Marketplace, loading up 3 grocery carts, throwing them in a friend's like truck, because I just didn't know what I was doing at first. And then obviously got connected with the wholesalers, and everything started to make more sense. So it's like, okay, if I buy 10 of these, which I'll eventually use, so I'll just invest now in a lot more, and I'll save a bit of money there. So it's always about trying to figure out how to save the most money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything else in life.
Right, exactly. So, okay, tell me what your long-term plan is for Nourished and Eat Clean. Like, what do you ultimately want this business to be, or where do you see yourself?
Yeah, that's a big question as well, which I like. Obviously, we're very keen about Bermuda, but we do really want to expand into like another location, like a Canada or something. I do think that Nourish has a strong branding in terms of like wherever it could be would probably work, especially now when like the plant-based movement is still pretty new. So that'd be like a future goal for sure, a 5-year plan, maybe have another pop-up spot, let's say in Montreal or something, or one of those type of cities that it'd be trendy and cool.
Yeah, and you have millions of people out there, so it's like you just need like I just need a fraction.
I got to pop up somewhere like in a random city, and then like you have, a lot more. So that's the long-term goal for sure.
Okay. Yep. And you have the connections because, like you said, you were there before. So I'm sure you know people who can help you to navigate that. Yeah, I think that's a great plan.
So we're hoping, but right now we're just steady sailing.
Yeah.
And then I'm just a one day at a time really type of person. But obviously you keep your dream board there, and
of course
you look at it every day, and you
like that's gonna be me one day.
Right.
So okay, for those people who may be considering starting a business in the food industry, I will say, what would you advise them? Like, what are the top 3 things that you think that they should consider when doing this?
Okay. I would probably say you definitely have to focus on the quality of the food. You don't want to, if you're doing like meats and stuff, you don't want to buy like the worst meat because to save money because customers will see that and that product just isn't good. There are some products that aren't good. Right. That's it. Make sure your quality's good. Make sure you have a good location. Right. You want to make sure you have the proper kitchen to do what you have to do because there's no bigger nightmare than having like a small fridge and like you just got to figure stuff out. You need like a location that's going to work for what you want to do. And then, just don't be afraid to go in and believe in yourself, I guess, If it's a little, that's a little cliche, but
do it.
Just go for it.
No, but I think that's important because sometimes I think, especially when we see people, they come in, they have these ideas, but you're talking about the idea, but you never actually implement it. And I know early on you were saying you had a job that you actually loved. You enjoyed your job, but then you started this. So with that, did you work in your job, in your full-time job, and do this on the side? And was there a period of time where you were like, okay, I think this is enough to sustain my quality of life if I move into this full-time?
That's pretty much what happened. Okay. So I was working at Gosling's. I was a content strategist.
Okay.
Or I think that was my title. So I was just doing the social medias, develop their website, all that type of stuff on the back end. And my free time at night, I was building websites for other customers around. I had that little freelance company. And then once Nourish, the idea of Nourish came into my head, I built a website, and then we did like a soft launch over like a weekend and something. And the meals went crazy. It went like 500 meals in a weekend.
Really?
Right away, right? So
that's crazy. Like, how did you do that? What did you do?
Just put the website out, and I was very aggressive with one Facebook ad. And it was new. Let's say I had $1,000.
And it looked great.
Right. Well, that's it. It looked really cool. Like I said,
is this a Bermuda company?
Right. So there wasn't many ads out. Again, once I said I'm the first person who did Facebook. There weren't many ads out yet, Right. So I put one out very aggressively, and I knew everyone was going to see it. Right. So it was almost like, okay, buckle up. Let's see what happens. And then it happened.
Yes.
Right. So I had to cook the food. It was terrible experience to do that by myself. We're not going to go there.
You could imagine. You were like, oh, wait.
Yeah. I got to make the food now. Now I got to make the food. Okay, cool. So once that happened, we did another weekend, like lower. I kind of like closed the website off at 200 meals.
Okay.
Because the 500 was just, like I said, craziness.
It was you. Yeah, you were cooking.
I was calling every friend I could, like, can you just come boil pasta while I stir this curry, like something like that. And then, after like doing 4 weeks of that, I kind of closed it, and that's when I had to find someone, and then Renee came on board.
Okay. But you were still doing your full-time job when you brought him on board?
Yes. Yeah. So I was doing, Nourish was functioning without me, with me. But with me doing my full-time job for like, let's say 4 months or even 6 months, I would just like check on them after work. They'd start their shifts a little later so I could be there with them. So the shift would start at like 4 p.m.
Okay.
For Nourished. We had a kitchen where Cafe Cairo used to be.
Yes.
Right. So we were using that kitchen.
Okay.
Thankfully I knew the owner and he gave us a good deal. And then we were there throughout COVID. So COVID kind of helped us out too.
I would say, because people weren't able to get out. They weren't going to restaurants.
So we were doing curbside pickups with COVID. Okay. So we'd have someone run out their meals to the street, give them a bag through their window, and that was it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So to me, it sounds like it happened very organically, but it gave you the peace of mind to say, this could work.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. So when we relaunched, and every week was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And I knew that we had like good chefs now who could actually make food, and not like oatmeal or whatever I was making. No,
it wasn't not oatmeal.
It wasn't that bad. Hopefully, it wasn't that bad.
Strawberries on top is fancy.
And then once I saw the consistency every week of what it was doing, and without me there being fully present, and without me really pushing too many ads, I was like, okay, well. If I'm going in, then we're going to have to do this,
Okay. So for you and with this company, like how do you see yourself growing with the company? Like, what do you ultimately want to do for it? I know a lot of the back end stuff you're doing now and that sort of thing, but is it your intent to like your exit strategy is to be nourished, eat clean, and expand outside of Bermuda? Or do you see yourself doing something else?
I don't right now. Like I said, it might not even be an outside expansion. It might be if something pops up again here, like a restaurant pops up, and then we're ready to go with that, then that's a whole other thing that's going to consume me, right? So that'll be 100% me again, and then we'll have our other team who are doing like the Nourish stuff or the eat clean things, and then, so if that's the option, if that happens, then it'd be amazing, right? So if the proper spot opens up and we have an idea and we're in a position to do that.
I think that's great. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, where did you find your kitchen? Because that's a big, it's a big deal for a lot of people who are in the food services industries. We have like a lot of bakers, a lot of people that prepare food, but they need a commercial kitchen.
Yep, 100%.
And it's like, they're few and far between. So we have our own commercial kitchens program where we try to match commercial kitchens that are not being used with people who need them. So you were fortunate in that you knew someone who had a commercial kitchen.
To get us going,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was just I did the program here, though.
Okay.
The first program they did with the kitchens.
Yes, commercial kitchen.
Yeah. The first one was really cool. But even that same week, I had reached out to the owner of Cafe Cairo.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't expect him to say yes, but he had said yes.
He did?
Yeah, and then that was it.
That's great. And is that where you still are?
No. So we're on North Shore now.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know where. I seen the sign when I passed. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, so
well, listen, I am thrilled that you were able to make this idea work. Considering all of the things that could go wrong for some, you figured out how to navigate them.
Still figuring out, though.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process, right? It's like, hold on.
We're still going.
Hold on. I get it, but I mean, it seems to be working for you, that you still have this loyal client base and that you were able to extend that client base by adding the Eat Clean meals. I think it's really, really cool.
Thank you.
You're able to address the needs of those who are just eating plants as well as, those like me who like a little
little something else.
So I wish you all the best. Like, if people want to order your meals or become part of the family, how do they do that?
So Nourished is nourishedbermuda.com, and then Eat Clean is eatcleanbermuda.com. Hit whatever one of those websites, and then you'll be able to pick your meals and choose a pickup date and come on and see us.
The rest is history, right? You're no longer cooking, no more.
That's it. Ditch the cooking, cleaning. That stuff's in the past. We got you guys.
Like, come into the future.
Yeah,
no longer. Like, I need to have a conversation with my husband and be like, why are we doing this? Why are we preparing our own meals? No, this has been great. I thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
On Mind Your Business. And I always say, if you don't mind your business, who will?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.